Anybody understand the term call and response?
What? No.
Okay. It means when I call, you respond. It's called call and response. So how we're going to do our special call and response is when we say, I go, you say, I may. Let's try it. I go, I may. But you have to say it with strength. Because you can't do a call and response without strength. I go. I may. You're not with me. You're not with me. I'm all by myself.
Okay.
Let's try it again. I go.
I may.
Oh, we're closer. We're closer. We're closer, but we're not quite there. That has to come. You know your outside voice. That comes all the way from your stomach. You know how you do when you're outside and see somebody down the street? You know you can't say, I may, and they hear you, right? So you have to go. Now, this table first, then this table, and then this table. We're going to see who can do it the best. You ready? I go. I may. Oh, they were pretty good. I go. I may. Okay. It was a good thing. Ready? I go. I may. Oh, I think they might have won. So that will be our tradition. Tradition means something you do over and over again. So on the third time, the room is just like that. You were perfect. So if you redo it the third time, it's total silence. Right? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
So some of you I met, and some of you I met through your parents. This is our first morning, and we haven't had a chance to really get to know each other and talk. Our presentation, our presenter is already here. So we're going to talk a little at the end. But we'll each introduce ourselves. And in terms of all of these wonderful adults that you see here with you, supporting you, here for you, here to make sure that you learn, that you experience, that you grow. We're here so you're standing on our shoulders and we're holding you up. That's why they're all here. That's it. And you see our strong shoulders? So don't disappoint now. Stand up strong on our shoulders. Okay, so we're going to start with some of you probably already know. You already know Mr. Ryan Kelly, science professor, teacher, and lover of all new knowledge and information. You can tell from his face.
Everybody from School 27 should know who I am, right? If I don't have you, you know who I am.
Because he has the,
Oh, he has the bearded dragon?
he has the bearded dragon in his class.
Oh, yeah.
So we already know he's going to love what he sees. So we have next. We have another science teacher. We brought in the heavy hitters from the school for us. We have Dr. Carlos Miranda. How many know Dr. Miranda from School 9?
It's the other side of town, so I don't know any faces.
Okay.
Well, red team. Where's the red group? Where's the red group? Put your hands up. Red group. Red group. Put your hands up. All right.
If you have on red.
You have on red. All right. You will be my group. Well, we will be a group for the entire duration of the program. Looking forward to meeting all of you, but especially my red group members. Awesome.
Okay. So, and on camera, all the way from the Big Apple, from New York, is Arlene Martinez. Arlene will
Hello.
be doing all the camera, and she's going to show you how to do some for yourself. Okay, how to actually take some pictures and to interview and to pose and to produce, and you'll see your own video at the end. Okay? All right. So, now, you know, I go. Amen. Remember, I go. Amen. And then, silence. Now, you know, every program that we do with education in this city, in this country, somehow we have to come up with the funds and the money to make it happen. So we are able to make it happen by the company that this building represents. So whenever you see him, you just hang on to him. Because that's the lifeline. So, Mr. Burns.
Yes.
Mr. Greg Burns from Energy Systems Group.
Yeah, so our company is working with your school district. We're going to come in and we're doing a lot of the elementary schools already. We're going to change out your old equipment, like your old lights, and we're going to put in new ones. So if you go into a school and you see new bright lights, that means my company has done that, and we're going to help this district, Patterson, save money by putting in more efficient, so it doesn't use as much electricity on the light bulbs. And that's how we use some of the savings, and that's why we're all here today. And we're super happy to be here and have a great program set for this next few Saturdays. So, look
So
forward
can
to
we
meeting
thank
everybody.
him? Can we thank him?
Well, absolutely.
Dr. Yahuma is here.
Good morning.
So Dr. Yahuma is the CEO of Healthy International and the one that makes the connections for how do we fund education and programs like this for young people. And I'm Dr. Yahuma as well, so that's Dr. M. Yahuma, Dr. T. Yahuma. Can you say Yahuma? Yahuma. Now who said no? Because that means you can't say a 3-syllable word. And I know this brilliant group can say 6-syllable words. Can you say Yahuma?
Yahuma.
Thank you. Thank you. And so, Yahuma actually is West African, and Yahuma means a helper of man, a helper of people. So as like your names, our names have meaning, and they go back thousands of years. So Yahuma. Okay? Now that we've all met each other, we have a special guest. A special guest who is sitting here. You're going to open up your first day with some treats.
Exciting stuff. That is for sure.
So this is Aaron from Snakes and Scales and Turtle Tails. So you're going to see and hear some wonderful things. Who wants to come a little closer? Okay, so slide forward. Slide forward. Okay. Slide forward.
Excellent. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Good. Excellent. My name is Erin, and I am here from Snakes and Scales. And what we are is an animal rescue group that's located right here in the exotic state of New Jersey. And what happens is sometimes people find out that some animals don't always make the best pets. So from our name, Snakes and Scales, what kind of animals do you think we mostly work with at Snakes and Scales? Snails? I don't work with snails, do they?
Alligator.
He's got to have his orange juice. What do you think? Snakes, yeah. Now, snakes belong to a big family of animals. Does anybody know what family of animal snakes belong to? What do we call those animals? Well, that's another type of these animals that we're talking about. So we got snakes, alligators, what else? Yeah, we call them reptiles, okay? So you got another group. So there's 4 main groups of reptiles that we have here on our planet. So snakes, alligators, we call them crocodilians. So things like alligators, crocodiles, that kind of thing, we lump them all together. So there's 2 more. What's another reptile that you can think of? What else do you think I have here today?
Turtles.
Turtles, good. And one more.
Snakes.
What do you think? It's got 4 legs, sticks its tongue out all the time, trying to smell.
A dog.
What do you think? A dog. Nothing cute and fuzzy. Nothing cute and fuzzy. What do you think?
Something ugly.
Something ugly. Uh-oh, I think we got a lot of talking to do here today. Lizards, okay? So those are type of reptiles that I work with every single day. And like I say, it's because people find out maybe something like a crocodile doesn't make such a good pet. Number one, I think you'd look kind of silly walking a crocodile down the street on a leash. And your neighbors would not be too happy if that crocodile pooped on their front lawn. So I give those animals meals, and then I teach people all about them. And you know what? It's kind of interesting. Some of the things I heard as I was coming in, and some of the things I'm hearing now. You know, the thing is, reptiles, they get one of the worst reputations of basically any animal on this planet. Okay, because the thing is, they're not cute and cuddly like a dog or a cat. They're not covered in soft, fluffy fur. They don't have fun little ears that stick off the tops of their heads. You know, they are stranger-looking animals, and a lot of people don't know a lot about them. So immediately, their reaction to my animals is to say, well, I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like snakes. I hate snakes. Well, here's the thing. You might, but a lot of people don't. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. The animals we're going to be talking about here today, you don't have to like them, you don't have to love them, but you should respect them. Because even though they're not cute and cuddly, it doesn't mean they're not important. Every single animal on this planet has a job to do, from the smallest little ant crawling around on the ground to the biggest whale that lives in the ocean. Every single animal has a job on this planet, and without one of those animals, the planet just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Everything's in balance, and every animal has a check and a balance, and they have to work together to make the planet work properly. Well, if we were to say, well, I don't like snakes, let's get rid of them. Well, guess what? Our planet wouldn't work properly. Animals like snakes, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, but animals like snakes, without them, we couldn't be here. You couldn't live on this planet. You couldn't step foot outside that door without stepping on a mouse or a rat or something like that. Those animals, they like to eat those types of things. Well, without them, they would just take over. The mice and the rats, they would just be everywhere. So we need snakes to be able to keep our planet working nice and happy and healthy. So, like I say, you may not like my animals here today. We're going to get a chance to meet them, okay? You may not like them, you may not love them, but hopefully by the end you'll understand them a lot better. And you know what? You can actually apply this to your own life. You can apply this to your own life, not just with animals, but with each other. You know, sometimes we meet new people, okay? And we don't know a lot about them, but they look different than us. They talk different than us. So immediately, we're not sure whether we like them or not. Well, the best thing to do, talk to them. Get to know them, because you never know. You may have more in common with them than you realize. So your immediate reaction shouldn't be, well, I don't like that person, they look different from me. That shouldn't be our reaction to one another. We should try and get along with one another, just like we should try and get along with all the creatures of our planet. So I'm going to tell you their stories about how we got them. Okay, they're really funny and interesting stories about how we got some of these animals. Some of them, honestly, the stories aren't all that interesting. Because the thing is, people try and have these animals as pets and realize reptiles, sometimes their favorite thing to do is nothing, and people get bored with them. So we're gonna take a look at these animals here today. You guys are even gonna get a chance to touch some of the animals. That's always gonna be a lot of fun. So if you would like, here's what we're gonna do. When it's time to touch, I will let you know when it's time to touch. If you would like to touch, what you're gonna do is show me 2 fingers. Can everybody show me 2 fingers? Okay, that means I'm ready to touch. You're going to show me those 2 fingers, and as I'm walking around with the animal, if you'd like to touch, you take those 2 fingers and you touch the animal wherever I tell you to touch, okay? You can practice on your own hand. Okay, that's how you're going to touch the animal. Nice and gentle with those 2 fingers. The reason why we use 2 fingers and not our whole hand is because sometimes people, they have a tendency, they want to squeeze the animals. They want to see what the animal feels like if they squeeze it. And you know what? Some of them can handle it. They're tough animals. But if you squeeze them, sometimes you never know what could come flying out of them. So we don't want to make a mess here today, okay? And we don't want to hurt the animal, of course. So we're going to use those 2 fingers. If you don't want to touch, okay? If you don't want to touch, that is fine. It is up to you. You are in control of this situation. If you don't want to touch one or any of the animals that I have here today, all you have to do is cross your arms in front of you like this. Can I see everybody cross their arms in front of them like this? That means no thank you. That means I will walk right past you. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be mad. I'm certainly not going to tease you with the animal if you don't want to touch it. I will walk past you, okay, but I'm not going to make you touch any of the animals you don't want to touch here today. So you don't have to run, you don't have to scream, you don't have to wet your pants. Here we go. So I have a question for you guys. Are you ready to see some animals? Yeah! I hope you say yes. I was hoping you say We're going to get started with a big guy here. This is my friend Dizzy. Everybody say hi, Dizzy. Hi, Dizzy. Now, sometimes people aren't quite sure what kind of reptile Dizzy is when I first take him out. They, of course, immediately know this is no puppy dog or kitty cat, but sometimes they're not too sure. So we're going to take a vote, okay? People love to vote, so here we go. If you think Dizzy is a crocodile, please raise your hand.
Everybody.
If you think he's an alligator, please raise your hand. Okay, some people didn't vote. All right. If you think he is a giraffe, please raise your hand. He shouldn't have raised his hand. He knows that's a joke. He's heard me tell it 1,000 times. All right. If you said alligator, you get a gold star for today. You think some people changed their vote? Well, here's the thing. If you said alligator, good job. If you said crocodile, don't do that. Because alligators and crocodiles, they belong on the same branch of the reptile family, okay? Like I said, we lump them all together. We call them crocodilians. So they do have a lot of similarities to one another. But, of course, just like any animal, they also have some differences. So the two easy things you can look for if maybe you're at the zoo or the aquarium, or maybe you're on a vacation somewhere where alligators like to live. Alligators like to live down south in the southern United States. So I would say anywhere from about North Carolina down the coast to Florida is where you're going to find alligators. So in case you're somewhere where alligators like to live and you're not quite sure, is it an alligator, is it a crocodile, look for these two things. One, the color of their scales is very different. A crocodile is going to have much lighter scales than an alligator. Crocodiles, they tend to be more that greenish yellow color. Even though in cartoons and movies, they always draw alligators as being green, they don't have green skin. What color is this animal's skin?
Gray.
Yeah, kind of a grayish black color, almost like the color of my shirt. So that's the thing. They have much darker scales than a crocodile. So that's number one. Number two, you can look at the shape of their nose. Now, I don't have a crocodile to show you here today, but just imagine, his nose, the crocodile's nose, is going to be shaped more like the letter V, very thin and pointy. Whereas an alligator like Dizzy here, you can see, his nose is not thin and pointy. It's much rounder and wider. It's almost like the letter U. So alligators and crocodiles, the shape of their snout, the shape of their nose is much, much different. Now, of course, there's plenty of other differences between them, all right, but those are the two easy ones to remember. Also, just remember, we don't have crocodiles here in the United States. There is an American crocodile, but it lives in Central and South America. North America is not the only America on this planet. So Central, South America is where you'll see crocodiles. We don't have crocodiles here in North America. But the thing is, like I said, these guys, they like to live down south. And that's because it's nice and warm down there most of the year. They don't like to live up here, okay? Most reptiles don't live in the Northeast with us because we call them cold-blooded animals. Now, a lot of people think cold-blooded animals, they must like the cold. But it's the opposite. They like to be in the warmth most of the time, like I say. So you're never going to see, if you're walking down the street, you're in the park playing around, you're never going to see an alligator living here in New Jersey with us. But that's where we got Dizzy from, right here in New Jersey. So how did we get it? Well, the thing is, remember I said, people try and have these animals as pets. Well, that's what we think happened with Dizzy. We think that's where the story starts. There's a magical place not too far from here. In fact, you may have even been there, okay? And you don't even know it's made. Because as soon as you enter this place, they put a spell on you so you don't even know. All right? It's called Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, certain parts of Pennsylvania, you can have your very own baby alligator or crocodile as a pet. And let me tell you something, yeah, that was not a sales pitch, okay? I saw some people get excited. Don't go get one. Here's the thing, they're so cute and little. When they first hatch out of their eggs, okay, they hatch out of eggs almost like birds do. When they first hatch, baby alligators are so cute and little. You see them, they usually have them in a big pool together. You see them all swimming around, having a good time. And you look at them and you go, "Aw, look how cute it is. I would love to have one of those as a pet. You know what? I'm gonna get one. I'll bring it home. I'll put it in a beautiful fish tank. I heard that they only get to be about the size of the enclosure you put them in. So I'll bring it home. I'll take good care of it. Nobody will find out. Even though here in New Jersey it's against the law, it's against the rules to own an alligator as a pet. It'll be fine." Guess what? It's not fine! Because the thing is, think about it. You bring home a baby animal, doesn't matter what kind of animal, any animal, pick an animal. You bring home a baby animal, you take good care of it, what's going to happen to that baby animal? It's going to grow. Now, the funny thing is, we find once the alligators get to be about this size, that's when people discover what a mistake they made. They don't understand that the animal's going to get bigger. This is the biggest reptile we have here in the United States. By the time they're done growing, they'll be about the length of the lunch tables you're sitting at right now. Not all of them, just the one you're sitting at. Yeah, my goodness. We'd have to move if they got that many. So that's the thing. They get to be really big. So once they outgrow that fish tank, now what are you going to do? You can't put it in the bathtub. That's going to make shower time very difficult. And people are afraid of getting into trouble. We know this. People are afraid of getting into trouble. You don't want to get in trouble. But instead of doing the right thing, sometimes people choose to do the easy thing, and that's where we think Dizzy's story starts. Rather than finding somebody like me who would give the alligator a good home, okay, take care of it, give it a good home, make sure that he has a place to live. Rather than doing that because they're afraid of getting into trouble, they choose to do the easy thing. So we think with Dizzy, that's exactly what happened. One night, somebody opened the back door, kicked him in the behind, and said, "See you later, alligator. Have a good life."
Everybody says
And slammed the door behind him. Well, the problem with that is if it's nice and warm like it is in the summertime around here, he doesn't know where he is. He's just going to think, "Oh, great, I'm outside." He's not going to walk around, look at a sign, and go, "Jersey? How'd I get here?" No, he's going to go find a place to live. And alligators, they like to live in a very specific environment. They like to live in freshwater environments. So ponds, lakes, rivers, swamps, anything like that. That's where they like to hang out. So Dizzy went to go find a nice swamp to move into. And he found one. He found the most beautiful swamp in all of New Jersey. The water was clean. The water was nice and warm. He said, "Awesome. This is my swamp. I am going to live here forever. Look, there's not even any other alligators around. I am the king of my own swamp." He probably gave an evil laugh, too. Problem, he found that swamp. It just wasn't a swamp. And it wasn't a pond. And it wasn't a lake. It was someone's pool. He found someone's backyard swimming pool thinking, "Hey, here's a swamp for me to move into. I can swim around. I got all the room to myself." So he was happy. The people who owned the swimming pool, though, were not so happy. They were about to jump in and they noticed their new pool toy. They were not too happy about that. But the good news is they actually had seen us at a program, just like you're seeing right now. Okay? And they remembered that we helped all kinds of reptiles. So they called us up. They said, "Yeah, we've got some kind of dinosaur swimming around in our swimming pool. Will you please come get it?" So we drove over. Okay, we weren't sure. You know, it's not every day we get called for an alligator swimming around in a pool. But We went over, sure enough, there was Dizzy, swimming around and 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 around in circles in this person's swimming pool. So long story short, we scooped him up, we've had him ever since. Now, the thing is, he was swimming in circles. Swimming is something that alligators are very, very good at doing, okay? They are much better swimmers than we are. In fact, really, the only time people get seriously hurt by alligators is because they go swimming where the alligators are. And, you know, human beings, we can swim, but we're not very good swimmers. We can swim maybe like 2-3 miles an hour. A full-grown alligator can swim up to 20 miles an hour. You are not going to win that race. So that's the thing, when you're swimming around, let's say you're in Florida, okay, and you're swimming around, people always ask me, how can I tell if there's an alligator in the swamp or the pond? Well, not that you'd want to go swimming in a swamp, but pond or lake that I want to go swimming in. Well, I got a real simple test for you to do. When you are in Florida and you want to go swimming, and you're not sure if an alligator is in that water, all you have to do, put your hand in the water, feel the water. If the water is wet,
Water is the water goes
all right, I'll let it sink in. There we go. If the water is wet, that means there's an alligator in that water. Thank you very much. So that's. Oh, okay, perfect. Here, we'll just have nobody slips. Okay, so that's the thing. They are great swimmers. They love to swim. But why was he going around in circles? Oh, okay, we're doing this now. Okay, here, let me go over it. So that's the thing. Why was he going in circles? Well, when an alligator swims, they don't kick their legs up and down like we do, okay? They actually tuck their legs to the side. Thank you very much. They tuck them off to the side. Well, that tail, okay, can you guys see that tail back there? That tail is what they use to swim through the water. They move it back and forth almost like a shark does. So that's what moves them through the water. But why was he going in circles? Well, their feet, they kind of use them like paddles. Okay? They sort of use those feet to be able to steer their direction. Well, if one of their legs is broken, like in the case with Dizzy, he had a broken leg, he couldn't steer his direction. So that's what kept pushing him around in that circle. But the good news is he's all better now. He can swim in straight lines just like any good alligator should. And we've actually had him a lot longer than you might expect. When you look at him, you probably don't see an adult alligator, but he is an adult. We think he's probably somewhere around 20 years old. Now people are surprised to hear that because he's not very big. For a 20-year-old alligator, he's not very big. Well, the reason for that is because of how we take care of him. We've had him about 16 years now. What? Yeah, we've had him about 16 years. So why is he so small? Well, this goes back to them being reptiles. Reptiles are not mammals. They don't have to eat every single day like we do, okay? The thing is, you have to eat the food that you eat because you are a warm-blooded creature. You have to make body heat. If I took 5 of you right now and I took your temperatures, you'd all be somewhere around 98.6 degrees. Well, reptiles, they don't make body heat, okay? So they don't have to eat food to make that energy like you do. And as I said at the beginning, we already said he likes to swim, but you want to know what his favorite thing to do is? Sleep. We have that in common. He loves to sleep. So he doesn't eat the food you eat because he doesn't have to do the things you have to do. You have to get up. You have to eat so you can learn and do all the amazing things you're going to do today. This guy, he sleeps most of the time. So he doesn't have to eat the way you do. So we only feed our alligators once a week. That's more than enough to keep them nice and happy and healthy, but it causes them to grow very slowly. So that's why, even though he is an adult alligator, he looks like, you know, maybe a 5 or 6-year-old alligator. Out in the wild, he would eat every chance he gets at any time he can because he wants to get as big as he can, as fast as he can, so he doesn't have to worry about predators, okay? I know that's a word I'm going to be using a lot, predators. That means that's an animal that may want to eat him for lunch. Well, he doesn't want to be somebody else's lunch, so he wants to get big so he can stop that from happening, basically, okay? Now, last thing before we do questions, you might notice he's got a little bit of tape on his mouth. Okay, everybody always says, oh, I know why it's there, I know. Why is there tape on his mouth?
So he doesn't bite your hand.
You know what? I'm glad you said it that way. It's so he doesn't bite. The tape is not there because he's going to bite. And I know it sounds like I said the same exact thing just then, but they are different statements. The tape is on his mouth so he doesn't bite, not because he's going to bite. Because think about it. If the tape was on his mouth because he's going to bite, definitely going to bite. How did the tape get on his mouth?
You put it on.
I put it there. Yeah. Well, he didn't bite me. I've got 5 fingers on this hand. I've got 5 fingers on this hand. He didn't bite me. Just because he's an alligator doesn't make him any more. Can you stop that? You know, it's kind of cold outside and you're getting me all wet. I don't need to be refreshed here today. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, looks like I'm doing laundry later on today. So the thing is, all right, the tape, right. So the thing is, the tape is on his mouth. I put it there. He didn't bite me when I put it there. Just because he's an alligator doesn't make him more or less likely to bite than any other animal, okay? That's the thing. These guys get a reputation for being mean animals. He is not a mean animal. There is no such thing as a mean animal, okay? Alligators, they don't bite because they don't like the shirt you have on today. They don't bite because they disagree with your choice in sports teams. They bite for 2 reasons. If they think they need to protect themselves or if they think something's food. Well, we never feed our animals at any of our programs, so he's trained. He knows he's not going to get fed. But if he were to get scared, if he thought something was trying to hurt him, could he bite? Yeah. So think back. Let's say I got sick all of a sudden. I faint, and I dropped Izzy on the ground. Not only would you guys gain athletic ability you didn't even know you had until today, you'd run, you'd scream, and, well, my pants got wet. Your pants might get a little wet, too. So that's the thing. You'd be scared. You'd be making a lot of noise. You'd be running and screaming. Well, he'd be just as scared as you. So could he bite? Yeah. So we just put a little bit of tape on his mouth just to stop that from happening, just in case he got scared. He can't bite now. It doesn't hurt him. He can still breathe. He's got a little nose on top of his snout, just like you have a nose. He can still breathe. But as soon as we're done, the tape comes off, he goes back in his pond, and then he does his favorite thing, which we said was? There you go, okay? All right, so does anybody have any questions for Mr. Pee Pee Pants here? Yeah? Yes? Yes.
Alligator likes to sit in the sun to warm up.
Yep, so they'll sit in the sun to warm up. That's another reason why the alligators have such dark skin. Because here in the United States, we don't have the tropical temperatures that maybe where the crocodiles like to hang out. So like in Africa or Australia, you know, they get much hotter temperatures than we typically do. So he's got those nice dark scales. So when he sits out in the sun, he can absorb all that sun to get all that good energy, all that good heat, and his skin doesn't burn. Because of the way their scales are, they don't burn the way our skin does if we sit out in the sun for a while. Yeah? What type of what? What types of things do alligators eat? Well, you know what? Out in the wild, they're not too picky. They would eat just about anything they find swimming around with them in the pond. So it could be turtles, it could be fish, sometimes ducks. They like to eat that kind of stuff. So out in the wild, I would say they're not too picky. They eat just about anything. But with us, we actually feed our alligators mice. We feed them mice. We feed frozen mice and rats and whatever to our animals because it gives them the nutrition they need. And as I said before, those are animals that could become a problem if they didn't eat them. So we use frozen mice and rats, but from time to time as a special treat. You guys like chicken wings? Yeah. He loves chicken wings, but luckily for me, I don't even have to put barbecue sauce or anything on him. He just likes to eat them whole, and he doesn't even need them cooked most of the time. He just swallows those things whole, bones and all. And that's important because he needs those bones to get the calcium from the bones. You guys, you need calcium too, but you're not gnawing on a chicken bone to get your calcium, hopefully, all right? All right, if you'd like to, that's fine. But we get our calcium from different sources, right? We get it from milk or cheese or yogurt. That guy, he's got to eat those bones to get that calcium. Yes?
How does he
How does... Oh, we don't leave the tape on his mouth. When I pick him up in the morning, let's say to come here this morning, I go up to his pond where he lives with his other alligator friends. I pick him up, I give him a little scratch on the head because he likes that. All right, he likes little scratches on the head. And I dry him off, I clean him off, and then I put the tape on there. And as soon as we're done for the day, I do the opposite. I take him back to... Dude! So to answer your question, as soon as we're done for the day, we're going to have a stern talking because he's making a mess here today. And I'll take the tape off and he can eat just the same you do. He gets the food in his mouth. Now he doesn't actually chew up the food like you do, but he swallows it whole. But yeah, the tape doesn't stay on his mouth all the time. All right, what other questions do we have for Dizzy? This didn't happen the last time, my gosh. That's a great question. How do they sleep in the water? Because they're not fish. They don't breathe the water the way a fish does. Fish have gills and alligators have lungs like we do. So how do they sleep in the water? Well, the thing is, they actually, number one, they can hold their breath for a very, very long time. So even if they are asleep, they can stay underwater for hours in some cases, holding their breath. But what they'll do is, because their nose is actually on top of their snout, they'll just sit in the water and just let their little nostrils kind of poke up out of the water. You can't see the rest of the alligator, but they'll let those little nostrils poke up out of the water, and they can breathe air just like you do. So yeah, so they find a spot where they can do that, so they're not in deep, deep water, so they can breathe while they're trying to sleep. But honestly, these guys, they'll just kind of crawl up onto the bank, and they're not even in the water at all most of the time when they're trying to sleep. Yes?
Why is he doing a lot of mess?
Why is he making a big mess? You have to ask him that. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Listen, these animals, the thing is, as good as they are and as well trained as they are, you know, sometimes when you gotta go, and yeah, you know, nature calls, and sometimes you gotta go to that. So hopefully that'll be the last of it here today. I can't make any promises though. I always tell people sometimes the most exciting thing about my show is finding out whether or not I get peed on or pooped on or something like that. So it's a very glamorous show. All right, so what else we got? Any other questions for Dizzy? Yes, ma'am.
Does he have sharp teeth?
You know what he does? Yeah. Alligators, even though they don't use their teeth to chew, they actually do have very, very sharp teeth. And that's because they use their teeth almost like we use a fork and knife. Okay? So what'll happen is out in the wild, let's say they're catching an animal that's a little too big for them to be able to just swallow whole. What they'll do is they'll actually bite down, okay, on whatever it is. And those teeth, because they're so sharp, what they'll actually do is they'll roll their whole body. We call it a death roll or a death spiral. They'll grab on, they'll roll their body, and it cuts little pieces of meat for them to be able to eat from a much larger animal. So they do have really, really sharp pointy teeth. They have over 100 sharp pointy teeth. And one cool thing about them is from time to time, you know, you're trying to catch an animal, you know, animals of course trying to struggle, well, sometimes the tooth gets knocked out. Now with us, especially at our age here, right, you guys, you've lost your teeth and you've got your adult teeth now. That's why it's so important you have to take good care of your teeth because we only get one shot. You get your adult teeth, that's it. But an alligator, they lose a tooth, guess what? Another one grows, yeah, another one grows. So they can do that their entire lives. So yeah, it's interesting because yes, they'll have somewhere around 100 sharp pointy teeth in their mouth at any given point. But sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less because maybe they're regrowing one. So that's a cool thing they can do. And honestly, as they get bigger, of course, the teeth get bigger and bigger as well. And their bite is very strong. That's why I only need a little bit of tape to hold that mouth shut. You know, the tape is strong enough to hold it shut because when an alligator opens its mouth, it's very weak. But when they close, ooh, that's really strong. So that's why we're always really careful handling the alligators. We get them used to being picked up and handled because of the animals we have, that's the one you definitely don't want to get bitten by, for sure. Yeah. All right, anything else? Like I say, we'll see what else happens here today. I make no promises that that's the last test we'll see. All right, very good. All right, so let's move on to our next animal. Glad we all stayed here today. I think some people, when they see that red bag, they think pizza's in there. Yeah, hopefully not. If I ever open that and find a large pepperoni with cheese, we're all in trouble. All right, although it would be delicious, right? That would be kind of good. All right, so this is my friend Cuckoo. Everybody say hi to Cuckoo. Hi, Cuckoo. All right, So cuckoo, of course, is a snake. You guys can clearly see that. But not just any snake. This is actually a native species to here in the Northeast. This is called a corn snake. Now, I always ask people, what do you think corn snakes like to eat? Corn. Makes sense, right? Of course, corn snakes must like to eat corn. But as I said at the beginning, snakes like to eat mice. Snakes like to eat rats. So then why do we call them corn snakes? Well, here in New Jersey especially, we are called the garden state, right? Well, that's because we grow crops that the rest of the country likes to eat. And we're famous for two things, tomatoes and corn. So let's imagine it's 100 years ago, okay? And you are a farmer. You grow the best corn in all the county. People come from all over to get your corn. Well, one day you go to pick it, and you notice, mice have been nibbling on your fresh corn. Now you can't eat it. You can't feed it to your family. You can't sell it, because as I said, mice and rats, those are animals that carry germs and diseases that can make us sick, so what are you going to do? Well, some people say, well, I'd go to the store. I'd go get a trap, or I'd go get chemicals and take care of the mouse problem. Now, you can't do that. There's no stores to go to. They don't have that kind of stuff. You can't do that. Well, some people say, well, I would get a cat. Cats like to chase mice. And they do. You're right. Yeah, cats do like to chase mice. But the problem is, cats also like to do whatever they want. You tell a cat, go, Fluffy, go, chase the mice. Fluffy says, You know what? The farmer next door, he lets me sit on his porch all day and drink milk. I'm going to head on over there and sleep in the sun on the porch, drinking milk all day. Have fun with your mouse problem. But you're a smart farmer. So, like I say, you know that snakes like to eat mice. So you go out to the woods and you find a whole bunch of snakes. You gather up a whole basket of them. You bring them back to your farm. You let them go in the middle of your cornfield. Now, the snakes, they're smart. They're in the middle of this cornfield. All these tall stalks of corn. They're protected by that corn, so they know nothing's going to try and eat them. And look, we've got all the mice we could possibly want to eat. This is great. So the mice get eaten by the snakes, and the snakes, once all the mice are gone, disappear. And now you, a few weeks later, go to pick the corn again, and you notice, perfect. It's perfect. Nothing's been eaten, that corn. So the snakes don't want to eat it, and now the mice are all gone. So now you've solved your problem. Now you tell other farmers, hey, get yourself some corn snakes. They helped me out. They took care of the problem that I was having. So that's a story that's been passed down over time as to how these snakes got their name, these beautiful orange snakes. Now, the thing is, they also, if we take a look at his belly here, let's unwrap my pretzel. Here we go. Hang on. Oh my gosh. All right, so if we also take a look at its belly, it also looks like it has, you know, around Thanksgiving time, we see that Native American corn people use as decorations. It's all different colors, brown and orange and yellow, things like that. It kind of looks like he's got corn kernels on his belly, too. So that's another reason why we ended up calling these guys corn snakes. Now, they're very popular for people to have as pets because, truthfully, they don't get much bigger than this. Okay, this is the warm-up snake for today, okay? We're going to be seeing a snake that gets to be quite a bit bigger than a corn snake, but people like to have these because they stay nice and small. But the problem is, reptiles in general, they live for a long time. So having them as a pet, you know, if you were to go out today, say, you know what, I would love to have a corn snake as a pet. That's fine, you can. But you're going to have it for a long, long time. And as you get older, of course, you're going to have less and less time for that animal. And some of you, you may decide you want to go to college. You live away at school. I lived away at school. You can't take your pets with you. You have to leave them home. Well, guess who lives at home? Who doesn't want to take care of your pet snake when you're not there?
Mom.
You know, and Mom always gets blamed. I take offense to that. Yeah, Mom and Dad, yeah, they don't want to take care of your pet snake. So that's the thing. That's the thing. They didn't want you to have it in the first place. Now you're leaving it with them? So they need to find it a new home. So that's how we ended up getting Cuckoo. Somebody had it, they didn't have time for it anymore. They wanted to do the right thing, make sure they found it a good home, so they brought him to us. Okay? So I'm going to come around. There you go. Very good. Excellent. Very good. Excellent. You know what, we're not, that's a great question, guys. As I'm coming around here, I'll answer this. Somebody said, oh, can we touch Dizzy? You know, I didn't explain. That's the only animal we're really not going to be allowed to touch here today. Because here in New Jersey, here in the Northeast, we understand that alligators, even though he is trained and goes down the state, he's still considered a dangerous animal. Or that tail, if he were to slap you with that tail, you saw I was in the line of fire. We don't want anybody else getting in the line of fire. So that's the thing. We're not allowed to touch the alligators here in New Jersey. But if you want to know what an alligator feels like, all you have to do, go outside, find a rock, pet a rock. That's exactly what he feels like. I swear, sometimes he knows I'm waiting for him to get it too. So he keeps sticking his tongue out at you. Now, I think I might have said this quickly at the beginning. Does anybody know why snakes and lizards, why do they stick their tongues out? Why do they do that? Yeah, they use their tongues to smell. So even though they have a nose, okay, cuckoo has a nose, they only use their nose to breathe. When they stick their tongues out, that's how they're able to sense what's going on around them. And it's a little hard on a small snake like this because they move it so quick and it's so small. But their tongue is actually split at the end. We call it a forked tongue. Can anybody think why the snake would want their tongue split? Why do you think it would be a good idea to have that tongue split in kind of half almost? What do you think?
Because it can smell on both sides.
Smells both sides. Sure. When they stick their tongue out, they only have to now stick it out once to be able to figure out where the smell is coming from. So when they stick the tongue out, if the smell gets stuck to the left side of their tongue, they know, oh, I gotta head to the left. Or maybe if it's something bad, they head away from it. You know, they don't have to stick their tongue out 1,000 times to figure out where the smell is coming from. It's actually like you having 2 eyes and 2 ears. It helps you better sense what's going on around you. Do you need 2 eyes and 2 ears? No. No, if you only had 1 eye or if you only had 1 ear that was working properly, you'd be fine. But that's because we also don't have to worry about predators the same way that snakes do. So the thing is, you have that 2 eyes, 2 ears, so you can better figure out what's going on around you. If you couldn't hear all that well, you'd have trouble figuring out, oh, where's that sound coming from? Or your eyes, you'd have to turn your head all the way around to see around you. You actually don't have to do that. If you're looking straight forward and you put your hands out to the side, you can actually see your hands even though they're not right in front of you. We call that peripheral vision. Okay, well, having 2 eyes helps you do that. Okay, if you only had the one right in the middle of your forehead, let's say, you'd have to turn your head all the way around to see on either side. So that's the reason why they have that split tongue, to be able to figure out where a smell is coming from. All right, so we're going to talk more about snakes, like I say, coming up. But does anybody have any snake-related questions right now? Yes, sir.
What happens if their skin gets too big?
If their skin gets to be too big, like if the snake loses a little weight and the skin's starting to get a little loose, well, here's the thing. As they grow, their skin actually does get to be a little too tight for them. So what will happen is they shed their skin. And in fact, Cuckoo's getting ready to do that right now. Now, Cuckoo's basically done growing, so it's not he's not going to shed his skin because of that, but just sometimes the skin on the outside gets old. So about once a month, a snake will actually shed his skin and underneath his brand new skin. Now, like I say, as they're growing, they kind of grow into that new skin, but the skin will never get to be too big for it. Yeah, you'll never see loose hanging skin on a snake, that's for sure. They want to be as big as they can and fat as they can for all time. So, yeah, so the skin will never be too loose on them. Yeah, but it will come off. About once a month, it'll come off. And it just kind of is this papery plastic skin. It doesn't look like this when it comes off the snake. Some people think that's where we get snake skin from. If we use snake skin to make like shoes or belts or purses. No, we get snake skin from a live animal. The skin that comes off is just old dry skin. We get dry skin too. It's not pretty to look at. It's just that kind of dry, white looking skin. That's exactly what happens to these guys. All right, what else do we have? What else? Yes?
How old is he?
You know what? We're not 100% sure. So with all of our animals, how old is he is the question. You know, we never are 100% sure because we get them from people. They don't know how old it is. So based on how long we've had it and how long the people said they had it, we think Cuckoo's probably somewhere around maybe 14 years old, 13, 14 years old. What's that? He's a teenager, yeah, terrible teenager. Yeah, he's always acting out and getting pimples and stuff like that. So that's the thing. So we think he's probably somewhere around 13, 14 years old. But a snake like this, 20, 25 years, if he stays nice and healthy, easily he could live 20, 25 years. So that's what I mean when I say, if you get a snake as a pet, you're going to have it for a while. Yes?
If shedded skin, is it like transparent?
When the skin comes off, is it? Yeah, it's kind of a clear, like I say, it's kind of this plasticky, papery looking skin. And yeah, it can be kind of see-through a little bit. Yep. Great question. So is the snake a boy or a girl? Now, I have a bad habit. I have a tendency with reptiles to always say he. But the thing is, obviously, we have to have boy and girl reptiles just like any other animal. So how we tell with snakes is interesting. We actually looked down here by their tail, okay? And there's actually this little flap, okay, little flap of skin. We call that the cloaca. So birds actually have a cloaca too. So reptiles and birds, believe it or not, have a lot in common. Well, what we do is we look at the cloaca. And near the cloaca, and I can show you this on a bigger snake, near the cloaca, if the snake is a boy, there will be two little, they look like horns, okay? They look like little horns. We call them spurs. And it's basically the same material as your fingernails. If we can see those on the outside of the snake's body, that means it's a girl, a boy rather. If we can't see them, that means it's a girl. Now, because it's a material like your fingernails, they sometimes do break off. So sometimes out in the wild especially, you could have a boy snake, and if you can't see those spurs, you're not sure. But most likely, if you can see the spurs, it's a boy. If you can't see them, it's a girl. Now, on a small snake like this, I really can't show you, but I might be able to show you later on. Yes?
How do snakes slither so fast?
How do they slither so fast? Because they are just one giant muscle, okay? Snakes are very, very strong animals. Even though they don't have legs, you think, oh, you gotta have legs to be able to move fast. These guys can move very fast because their entire body basically is one big muscle. So that's what propels them quickly through the grass or the sand, wherever they happen to live. So these guys are very, very strong. Yes? What's that? Can you keep them? Well, if I let everybody keep the animals I brought, I wouldn't have any animals to show people. So, unfortunately, no, you can't keep a cuckoo, but I do always help you. If you think having a reptile as a pet is something you'd like to do, always do all your research first. Read about the animal, how big does it get, what is it like to eat, what sort of cage do I need to keep it in. Make sure you know everything about it before you get it. So I always encourage people, if you'd like to have a reptile, do it. But make sure you know how to take care of them properly. Yes?
Well, what's its known predators?
What's its known predators? Like here, honestly, any sort of big bird, so owls, hawks, or crows, they tend to like to eat snakes. And sometimes if it's a small snake, any mammals that are out in the forest where these guys like to live, they may try and eat them. Now, most mammals, they do stay away from snakes because this snake will actually try and trick them. What they'll do out in the wild is they'll actually shake their tail back and forth really quickly in the dead sticks and leaves in the forest where they live, and it makes kind of a sound. What do you think he's trying to pretend to be?
A rattlesnake.
Yeah. So if you can't see the snake, but all of a sudden you hear you think, uh-oh, there's a rattlesnake around here. So hopefully the predator will just walk away. So that's another way these guys protect themselves out in the wild. One more.
Are those snakes have skeletons?
They do, yeah. A lot of people think snakes don't have skeletons because, well, you can see why. But here's the thing, they do. They're just obviously a little different than us. Their skeletons are much different than ours, and they're able to bend and move themselves into these crazy kind of little pretzel shapes. So they have a spine, just like you have, and they have ribs that come off of the spine. So that's why they don't have the hip bones we do and all the arm bones and leg bones. We can't twist ourselves into that shape, although I've seen some people, they're amazing. They can kind of twist themselves up. I'd have to go to the doctor if I tried to do that. But this guy, he's able to do it because he doesn't have the same number or the same type of bones that we have. All right, one more.
He has flexible bones.
Yeah, he's very, very flexible because, like I say, he only has that spine and those ribs that come off of the spine. He doesn't have all the crazy bones that we have. All right, so that was Cuckoo. Everybody say bye to Cuckoo. Bye. All right, let's see what else we got here today.
I want a bird.
Everybody's favorite. So, this is my friend Crash. Everybody say hi to Crash. So Crash is a turtle, but not just any turtle. We call this a box turtle. And again, this is actually a native species. If you go for a hike in the woods around here or walk in the park in the spring, summertime, you have a good chance of seeing a turtle like this. Now, we don't call them box turtles because they live in boxes like this, all right? And they're not boxers, okay? So don't think he's like fighting anybody with little gloves on. These guys, we call them box turtles because of how they use their shell. Now, what do turtles use their shells for?
Protection.
Right, okay, protection. And when you say protection, what do you mean? Do they take the shell and they throw it at somebody?
Not like Mario.
What do? They hide inside, right? Okay, so what do? They hide inside. So they stick their head inside their shell, right? They stick their arms in their... They stick their head inside their shell, and they stick their arms in their legs.
He's like, I don't want to go right now.
One more time. They stick their head inside their shell, and they stick their arms and their legs. You get the point. They stick their head, their arms, their legs inside their shell, and what makes the box turtle a box turtle is when they do that, they can actually fold up their shell. They can close their shell. So that way, nothing can get inside, and you can't see any of their body parts. So when they hide inside their shell and they fold it up, okay, like I say you're just walking in the woods and this is sitting in with a whole bunch of dead sticks and leaves. You don't know it's a turtle. What might you think this is? A rock. There you go. So that's how they protect themselves. And good news for them, they're about as fast as rocks, so it kind of really works. So turtles, we know they're not nature's greatest athlete. They're kind of slow, right? Well, that's the thing. These guys, they don't move very quickly. And here in New Jersey, unfortunately, they don't understand what those big shiny boxes we drive around in are. They, get up to the road and they want to cross the road, okay, just like the chicken to get to the other side. Well, the problem is they don't know, like I say, what those big shiny boxes are, and they don't know to look both ways like you do and make sure the coast is clear before we try and cross the street. So that is where Crash's story starts. Native species, we try and let them go here in New Jersey. We want them out in the wild. That's where they belong. But of course, if an animal is injured and can't be re-released out into the wild, we'll hang on to him. What had happened was somebody was driving along and they saw Crash sitting on the side of the road. And they thought, uh-oh, he's trying to cross. We better stop. We better help him. Well, unfortunately, it was too late. He already tried to cross the road. Well, the problem with that is, of course, you're driving in a car, you're going fast, you see this little thing sitting in the road, you just think it's a rock, just like we said. And sometimes people don't avoid them. They accidentally hit them. So somebody had hit Crash with a car or a motorcycle, something like that, and his shell broke. Now, it looked very bad. Okay? Obviously, anytime you fall down and go boom and you get a cut, ooh, it bleeds and it doesn't look good. Well, it's the same thing for these guys. His shell was broken, it didn't look very good, but they brought him to us, and actually, once we cleaned him up and took a look, we noticed that the injury wasn't all that bad. It broke his shell, but it just cracked his shell apart, okay? It didn't break the shell completely. So just a little piece, as I come around and you guys take a look at him, you'll see just a little piece right here is missing from his shell. And the good news is, because a turtle shell is bone, just like your skeleton, it heals. Now, it can't regrow, okay? It can't regrow the bits of the shell that are missing, but it did heal. So just like if you fall, you break your arm, you break your leg, you put a cast on it, those bones mend back together, they heal. Same thing for these guys. So there were tiny little cracks that eventually did heal up. The funny thing is, we used some crazy glue to hold it together, because eventually the glue disappears, but it holds that shell together nicely, and it healed up. So that's how we ended up getting Crash, but because his shell is no longer complete, it's no longer whole, we didn't want to put it back out to the wild. We didn't want to, potentially have him get eaten by a predator or hurt by a predator because his shell's not whole. So he gets to live with us now. He gets to come meet awesome people like you. And he, again, loves to do things that reptiles love to do. Sleep all day, okay? Walk around in his little cage. And when it's feeding time, he gets real excited. You've never seen a turtle move so fast in all his life. His favorite food, now obviously he wouldn't eat this out in the wild, but his favorite food with us, dog food. Loves dog food. Loves it. Loves it. When I put a bowl of dog food into the cage with the box turtles, they all run to that bowl. You've never seen a turtle move so fast. They stick their head. Now when I say dog food, I don't mean that dry kind. I mean the wet, stinky kind that comes out of the can. They stick their whole head in that bowl, gobble up all that dog food, get it all over their face. And when they're done eating it, well, they kick the bowl to the side. They're like, okay, keep holding that up now. And then they wipe their face off on the side of the cage that they live in, okay, painting me a beautiful picture out of dog food gravy. Yeah. So either they think they're painters, I don't know, maybe he thinks he's a famous painter, maybe he thinks he's a chihuahua, maybe he thinks he's a famous painting chihuahua, I don't know. So let's come around. Very good. Yes, back feet. You may also touch the back feet.
I can't wait to touch it.
No, you know what, they're not. Even though the armadillo does have a kind of almost looks like a shell on the outside of its body, the armadillo is actually a mammal. So these guys are reptiles, the armadillo is a mammal. There we go. No, you're just pretending like I'm not here, right? You're just like, keep moving, keep moving. All right.
I like turtles.
Here we go. All right. Here we go. I think I heard him giggle. You tickled his feet. I heard him giggle. There we go. All right. Very good. Excellent job, everybody. Top of their heads. Oh my gosh. Alright, here we go. There you go, very good, alright. Here we go. Excellent, excellent. It bites, right? Well, that's a great question. We'll answer that when I get to that. It bites, right? Well, yes, it does. Okay, any animal with a mouth can bite. Certainly any animal with a mouth and teeth can bite. But, like I said with the alligator, turtles, lizards, snakes, alligators, they're not special when it comes to that. Like I say, any animal with a mouth and teeth can bite if it thinks it needs to, if it thinks it needs to protect itself, or if it thinks something's food. So could the turtle bite? Sure. You really have to work hard to get the turtle to bite you, because obviously, like we say, they're not very fast, but it does have a beak, almost like birds have. So that's the thing, it can bite. The chances of the turtle biting is very slim, but it can bite. I always said any animal with a mouth, and certainly any animal with a mouth and teeth can bite. If I came here today and decided I was going to annoy you guys, right? First thing in the morning, Saturday morning, you're like, we don't need this. I come in here, I mess up your hair, I call you names, and I point my finger at you. Could you bite my finger?
That's disrespectful.
Oh, that's this. I thought you said yes. I was like, whoa. He's like, that's disrespectful, and you're right. That would be very disrespectful. Hopefully nobody's going to try and bite me here today. But you could, but we know that's not how we solve problems as the respectable human beings that we are. If you got a problem, you tell somebody about it. You don't bite somebody who's giving you a problem. You tell somebody. And if I'm giving you a hard time, you say, hey lady, guess what? The door's right back there. Use it. Get out of here. And that's what I would do. Alright, so hopefully nobody wants to snack on me here today. Alright, so are there any questions for the turtle? Yes?
Is a turtle faster?
Is a turtle faster than a sloth? Never thought to put those two animals together in a race, but the truth of the matter is it kind of depends on the turtle and it depends on the sloth, but I would have to say the turtle would be faster than the sloth. Sloths are known to be very, very slow. There we go. Okay, ready? Okay, here we go.
Turtles bite fast.
They can, depending on the turtle. So like some turtles, like snapping turtles, yeah. Snapping turtles, we call them snapping turtles for a reason. So they can bite a little bit faster and stronger than some other species of turtles. But yeah, you know, this guy, like I say, I could keep my finger here probably all day and he's not going to bite me. But that's not to say he couldn't, so we always are nice and careful. Yes?
What happens when you put his food at somewhere far away? Will he try to like get it?
Yep, he races right over to it. They can smell it. You know, that's why, you know, we think of that smelly dog food in the can as being kind of gross. But that smell, they smell that. They can smell it from a far distance. And that helps them out in the wild. If there is something that they need to find to eat, let's say it's a dead animal out in the middle of the woods. Well, you know, that smell, that's what attracts them to it. So they need to have those smells in order to find that food. So yeah, they can smell it from a far distance.
Whenever we open a can, they could be like all the way outside of the
Yep.
door locked.
Yep. And they know, right? They know when that food's coming out. And that's because they have a good sense of hearing, so they can actually probably hear you opening the can, and then of course sense of smell, they can come find it. Yeah. That's a great question. So a predator, let's say there is a big fox or something that comes along and says, yep, I want to eat that turtle for lunch today. Well, that fox or whatever the animal may be is going to have to get through that shell. And most animals don't want to bother. That's a hard shell. It's not like eating a potato chip, okay? It's a hard shell. So they're really going to have to work to try and get inside. So they can get inside if they do that work, if they try and pry the shell open or get into the turtle. But most animals, especially around here, they're not going to bother. It's just not worth the effort. They're going to go find something else to eat. So really the turtle is the best protected of all the animals we're going to see here today because it carries around its shield all the time. Yes?
Why is that turtle so small?
Why is he so small? Well, that's how big he gets. You know, some animals get bigger than others, right? So he's going to stay nice and small. But depending on what part of the world you're in, some turtles get to be pretty big. I mean, sea turtles, they can weigh 400, 500, 600 pounds. So that's the thing. It just depends on where you are, what environment you're living in. And these guys here in New Jersey, they really don't have to be much bigger than this. Yeah. Well, think about it for yourself, okay? I tell you to get up, okay? And I tell you to run to the end of the room and back, okay? Just as you are. You could probably do it pretty quickly, right? Now, let's put a 100-pound backpack on your back. Do you think you could do it as fast? No. So like I say, the thing is, these guys, they're carrying around not only their body, but now they've got their house with them too. So all that shell, because it's bone, it's heavy. And their legs, you know, they're kind of short little legs. These guys, they weren't made for running. So they're slow, but you know what? They don't have to be fast either. They don't have to run away from predators because of what we just talked about. They've got that shell on the outside of their body. So they're not fast because they really don't have to be, but also they can't be. They can't be all that fast. Okay.
What kind of predator likes to eat a turtle?
Like I say any mammal here in New Jersey, like a fox or a coyote or something like that, may try and get inside of the turtle, but honestly, most of them don't even bother either, because like I say, it's just too much effort. Honestly, the turtle's biggest problem here in New Jersey? People. We're their biggest predator. Not because we want to eat them, but because, like I said before, we're driving around in those big shiny boxes. We hit them with our cars, and we're taking up their land to build our houses. So that's the thing. We're honestly the turtle's biggest problem here in New Jersey. Yeah.
Some turtles run fast.
So, well, and yeah, like I say, it depends on the turtle, but you're never going to see Crash winning any races anytime soon, that's for sure. All right, so that was Crash, so we'll say bye to Crash. Bye. All right. How you guys doing? You want to see some more?
Yes!
All right.
One question.
Oh, yes, yes. Here, I can't hear. Let's hear the question. Well, that's actually a great question. You know what? I forgot to mention that. Yeah. So when the turtle comes out of its shell, what happens? Well, turtles don't come out of their shell. They're not like crabs, like hermit crabs. Hermit crabs, they outgrow the shell that they're in, so they crawl out and they go find another one to move into. Not turtles. Turtles keep the same shell their entire life. So just like you're born with a skeleton, they hatch with the shell. As you grow, you keep the same skeleton, it grows with you. As they grow, they keep the same shell, it grows with them. So in case you've ever seen a cartoon or a movie where a turtle walks outside its shell, closes the door, and walks away in its underwear, that can't happen. It would be like me asking you to go somewhere without your skeleton. You can't do it. They need that shell. It is part of their skeleton. In fact, they are attached to their shell by their spine. Their spine runs along the back of the shell. So that's the thing. They can't go anywhere without that shell. So as they grow, the shell grows with them. So we've seen an alligator who, as we remember, made a big nest. We've seen a snake. We've seen a turtle. What was the fourth kind of reptile we're missing?
Lizard.
Let's see what we got. All right. This is everybody's favorite. No matter where I go, I talk to thousands of people a year. This is the one that if I see them again, they always ask me about. They say, how's Lollipop doing? Well, this is Lollipop, and Lollipop is a lizard, even though it may not necessarily look like one. This is a lizard that tries to trick you into leaving it alone, because the truth is, just like with turtles, these guys, they're not very fast either. We can see he's got these short, stubby little legs. Again, not good for running. I know all about short, stubby little legs. I'm not a good runner either. So, this is called a blue-tongued skink. Not a stink. Not a sink. A skink. So skinks are a big family of lizard, and this happens to be the biggest of the skink family. And obviously, we call it a blue-tongued skink because
It's has a blue tongue.
blue tongue. Now, you may look at the blue tongue and you may say, ooh, that's pretty, it has a blue tongue. Yes, it's pretty to us. And no, it doesn't have a blue tongue because we had too many blue raspberry lollipops before we got here today. It has a blue tongue to scare you. If you were another animal, if you were the predator living out in the wild with this lizard and you saw that blue tongue, you would not be happy.
Why?
Because you would think, oh, it's poisonous. It's poisonous. It's venomous. I shouldn't go anywhere near it. Anytime we see bright colors out in the wild, blue, orange, yellow, green, purple, whatever, you see bright colors, that's a warning. You know, people say, why would an animal that's poisonous want to be so brightly colored? It's to warn you. Stay away from me. Don't come any closer. Think about it. You're out on the street. You see a stop sign. What color is the sign? Red. Yeah. If it was any other color but red, you wouldn't pay attention to it. If it was white or blue or yellow, you'd just go blowing right past it. No matter what the sign says, you would just go right past it. Well, the sign is red, so you stop. Because even if you can't read the word stop, a red sign makes you say, wait a minute, I need to do something here. Well, that is his stop sign, okay? The animals out in the wild that are brightly colored or have something about them that's bright, that's their stop sign. Don't come any closer to me. But it's a lizard, you know, what's the harm? Well, what he does is he tricks you. He's not going to run away from you if you want to eat him for lunch. He tricks you into thinking he is a venomous snake. He hides his legs from you. And he actually wiggles around kind of like a snake. So when you're out in the wild, you see him wriggling around in the grass, and you see that bright blue tongue, what he does is he sticks out and he holds it out. Now his head looks like a very venomous species of snake's head. We call it a puff adder. Well, you're a smart animal. You've had family members who tried to eat this puff adder. Ooh, they didn't have a good day after that. So you say, you know what, I thought it was a lizard, but now I'm not too sure. I'm going to go find something else to eat. It's not worth it. Animals don't take chances the same way we do. If they think something could hurt them or make them very, very sick, they're not going to eat it, so they move on. So that's how, one way, the blue-tongued skink protects itself in the wild, but that's not why I have the blue-tongued skink. You can have this lizard as a pet. People do. People have them as pets. They make good pets. They're easy to take care of. They don't get any bigger than this, so a lot of people like to have them. But as I said before, if you're thinking about getting a reptile as a pet, you better know everything about it before you get it. Well, these people, they saw a lizard that looked cool. They liked the tongue. They thought, awesome, that'd be great to have as a pet. Let's get it. They brought it home. They took good care of it. They would let it walk around their house, just like you do a dog or a cat. But the problem was the lizard walking around, as we said, not very fast. Well, one day the kids are running around the house having a good time. Lollipop crosses in front of them, and they stepped on Lollipop. They didn't know, they didn't see Lollipop, they stepped on Lollipop. It was an accident, they didn't mean to do it, but Lollipop got scared. Lollipop thought, I'm under attack! I have to do something. Well, it was too late to do that whole snake trick. So, Lollipop went to plan B. A lot of animals have a plan B. If I can't do that snake trick and convince you I'm a venomous snake that you don't want to eat for lunch today, plan B. And for some lizards, plan B is to literally pop their tail right off of their body. What? They drop their tails off of their body. It would be as if I said boo to you and your ear just fell off. That's what it's like. You got so scared, your ear just fell off. That's what happens with these lizards. They get scared. They think they're under attack. They drop their tail. It literally breaks off of their body, and they leave it behind. The reason being, think about it. There's nothing important in their tail. It's fat. It's muscle. It's bone. Well, if I'm being chased by something that wants to eat me for lunch, I would much rather leave this behind and let them eat that than eat the rest of me. So, Lollipop, thinking he's under attack, popped the tail off, left it behind, went and walked away. Now, the good news is, when they do this, when they drop their tails, they can grow another one. We call it regeneration. Big fancy word. The cells regrow, they regenerate. So the tail grew back. They do this as many times as they need to throughout the course of their life. Now, people ask, can we see it happen here today? Well, they don't just willy-nilly drop their tails off their body. They need to feel that there's a threat, that there's a reason why they have to drop that tail off the body. So he's not going to do it here today, but the reason why they don't just do it, in an instant is because, well, if they drop their tail today, now tomorrow they don't have one. It doesn't grow back quickly. It took Lollipop about a year for his tail to grow back. So they don't want to do it if they don't have to. Okay, people ask me, does it hurt? It doesn't hurt the lizard. They wouldn't do it at all if it hurt them. But, it's not something they look forward to. Let's put it down. So, no, we won't see it here today, but you can see Lollipop has a tail here today. The problem, the reason why I'm telling you all this, I know the tail falls off and grows back. You now know the tail falls off and grows back. The people who own the lizard, though, did not know the tail could fall off and grow back. They came into the room a little while later. They saw a tail sitting on the ground, but no lizard. And they saw a lizard, but no tail. I think we broke the lizard. They didn't know that it could come apart like that. They literally thought they broke the lizard. So they grabbed the lizard, they grabbed the tail, they brought me both pieces. Now, they did not say this, but I'm pretty sure they thought I could just glue it back on. It doesn't work like that. Once the tail falls off, it's dead. It's no good anymore. Okay, it does, funny enough, it does actually keep moving for a few minutes after it falls off the lizard. Wiggles around. Like I say, the predator sees that, thinks it's something to eat. But once it falls off, I can't reattach it anymore. It's no good to the lizard. It's almost like cutting your hair. If you cut your hair and you don't like it, you can't tape it back on. It's not gonna like magically mend back together. That's the same thing with their tail. It has to grow back. Well, these people were so upset by what had happened, they didn't know what to do. So they wanted to give the lizard a new home, and that's how we ended up getting Lollipop. So, like I say, that's one of everybody's favorite animals, favorite stories to hear, and it is pretty cool. So we're gonna give Lollipop a feel here. There we go. There's good. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, yep, so lizards, snakes, turtles, they can all be boys and or girls.
How do you like a snake?
How do you tell? With these guys, honestly, it's a little, oh, absolutely, oh, I'm sorry, you have to, okay, there we go. We got you, you're welcome. How can you tell? Sometimes it's hard to tell with the lizard. So until one of them lays eggs or does something like that, sometimes we don't know. Like I say, sometimes it's hard for us to tell. Excellent, okay. Yeah, some people even say it kind of feels like corn on the cob. You feel those scales, they're kind of bumpy. You got this, you got this. You can do it. There you go, you got it, all right. There you go. Excellent. Yeah, it was much smoother, right? This guy just feels a little bumpier. So these feel nice and oh, good question. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. There we go. All right. Come on. Here we go. Right?
Is it a boy or a girl?
Honestly, it's hard for us to tell until they lay eggs or anything like that. Sometimes it's hard for us to tell.
So yeah, it's. I touched the lizard.
Yes, they do.
I touched the lizard. Yay!
As I was coming around, several of you asked a great question. You noticed that there's these holes on the side of Lollipop's head. Now, somebody said, oh, are they gills? Does it help them breathe? No, he's got a nose right up here in the front. He can breathe just like you and I do. So they're not for breathing. Those holes on the side of his head are not for breathing. What else do we think?
Hearing.
What do you think?
Water.
For water, well, this is actually a desert species of lizard, so he doesn't run into water very often. What do you think? Hearing. You have holes on the side of your head too. Now, we have these funny floppy looking things on the side of our head. Okay, we call these our ears. These are actually not your ears, believe it or not. This is something called pinna. Your pinna, okay, is what catches sound. Your ear is all the little bones that vibrate inside your pinna, and it helps you catch that sound and take in that sound and interpret that sound. Well, lizards, they can't catch sound the same way we do. They don't have the funny floppy things. They can hear, just not as well as you. If you were to close your eyes and I just walk around this room, you would basically be able to tell where I am based on the way your ear is catching the sound of my voice. The lizard has a little bit more difficult time doing that. He can hear me, okay, and I sound like a Charlie Brown character probably to him, just like, wah, wah, wah. All right, but he can hear me. But he has a little difficulty telling where the sound comes from. That's why reptiles, a sense of hearing is not their best sense. Usually their sense of smell is what they rely on most. to figure out what's going on around them. So that's why, even though right now Lollipop's not trying to scare you with that blue tongue, you'll still see that blue tongue sticking out because they're smelling the air, trying to figure out what's going on around him, trying to figure out where we are. We've never been here before, so he's trying to figure out where we are, what's going on, what you are, because honestly, just looking at you, he doesn't know what you are, but by smelling, he knows, oh, you're people. I know people are not going to try and hurt me, therefore I don't have to be afraid. Yes?
Why don't he like his eyes? Is that why his tail looks like that?
What was the question? Why does he what? Why doesn't he bite somebody? Because like I say, he knows that he's not going to get hurt or fed right now. You know, a reptile's main goal in life is not to bite everything it sees in front of it. So, you know, they're trained. They know, I'm not going to get hurt, I'm not going to get fed, there's no reason to bite. Could he bite? Yeah, he could. But again, so could a dog. But hopefully you train the dog. Hey, now's not the time to be biting somebody. So you train it to act a certain way. We do the same thing with our reptiles. Just because they're reptiles doesn't mean they're not smart. Doesn't mean they can't be taught. Just about any animal on this planet can be taught behavior if you do it the right way. Okay? All right, what else we got? Any other questions? Yes? What does he eat? This guy will actually feed a very varied diet too. So we give him things like bugs and insects and worms, that sort of thing. He likes to eat that. But we'll also give him vegetation, so plants and fruits and things like that. He likes to eat those as well. And like I say, because he lives out in the desert, he's not a very picky eater. And he has to eat things like bugs and insects to get the water that his body needs. He obviously doesn't run into water a whole lot out in the middle of the desert. So by eating things like bugs, you know when you step on a bug, it goes and it just squirts all over the place, right? Well, that's because they're full of water, basically. So they eat that stuff to be able to get the water that their body needs. Yeah.
So what happens if your tongue is blue and he sees your tongue?
Yeah, what is my tongue blue? What if I did eat something or drink something that turns my tongue blue and he sees that, he goes, "Ooh, what is that?" Well, he doesn't really think about things the same way. So if he saw my tongue was blue, he probably wouldn't care, honestly. But if you saw my tongue was blue, would it scare you? No, because we know our tongues turn colors because of whatever it is we're eating. But like I say, out in the wild, when you see those bright colors, that's usually the warning sign. That's the stop sign. Stay away. All right, what else we got? Any other questions for Lollipop the lizard? No? You guys are good?
Wait.
All right, go ahead.
I'm sure his tongue's not blue because he ate too many blue raspberry lollipops.
Yeah, no, like I say, not a big fan of lollipops. I eat all the lollipops. All right, any lollipops we get, I eat all the lollipops. Yes?
I want lollipops. Is his tail bumpy like that because he fell off?
Yeah, so is his tail bumpy like this because it fell off? Yeah, it is. It didn't grow back perfectly, but it doesn't have to look perfect. It just has to be there. And you know, that's the funny thing too. You know, we're always so concerned with how we look. Animals don't care how they look as long as he has his tail. That's the most important thing to him. So when the tail grew back, it didn't grow back perfectly. In fact, you can even see his tail is even a little bit different color than the rest of him. Well, it's almost like a scar. If you fall down and scrape yourself, okay, you get a scab and it heals. Well, eventually it's going to heal that scar. The scab's going to go away, but your skin might actually be a slightly different color than the rest of you because of that injury. Well, that's kind of the same thing with him. When that tail grew back, it grew back imperfectly, and that's okay. And it grew back a little slightly different color. And every time it happens, when and if it happens, it will grow back differently. So it's a very interesting thing to actually see a lizard tail fall off and then grow back. And another question people ask me is when the tail falls off, does it bleed? Yes, it does. It's an injury just like you would get, and it bleeds and it kind of looks gross for a little while, but reptiles are tough animals. So even if they get an injury like that, it heals up and then they're good to go. And eventually, like I say, it starts to regenerate those cells. Yes?
Do you know how many times his tail left?
No, I don't know that information. I'm assuming just the once. Okay, the question was how many times has his tail fallen off? I don't know. I'm assuming just the one time, but who knows? It could have been more than that. I don't know. I wasn't with him his entire life, so it's possible it's happened more than once, but I would assume just the one time. Yes, they do, yeah. Now, he pretends to be a snake, and we talked about the snakes shedding their skin. They shed their skin all in one piece, and it comes off all in one piece. These guys, they don't shed like a snake, but they do shed their skin. So what happens, and you felt how bumpy those scales were, right? Well, what happens is each individual scale sheds itself. So each one comes off in its own little piece. So when these guys shed, it's one of the coolest things in the world. Because what I'll do is I'll take my hand and I just run my hand right down his back. Just go just like that. And I go like this, and it's like lizard confetti falling from the sky. All right? All those little individual scales come off of his body one at a time. So like I say, if I catch him in just the right spot, I can kind of run my hand down, take all those scales off all at once. But they don't come off all in one piece like they do with the snakes. Great question. Great question. What else we got? Anything else? I don't want to miss anybody. I missed somebody last time. Going once? Twice? All right, excellent. So that was lollipops. So everybody say bye to lollipop. Bye lollipop. All right, so we got a couple more. You guys want to see a couple more? Yeah. Okay, cool. Here, let me put lollipop back.
What about a mouse?
What's in there? What's the mouse?
I want to see a mouse, but I just say snake.
Since we're done with the pizza bag, let me just explain the pizza bag for 1 minute, because some people are like, why on earth do you use a pizza bag to carry around animals? Well, it actually works the same way it does for your pizza. We talked about reptiles wanting to be nice and warm all the time. Well, you order a pizza from Domino's or Pizza Hut, you want it to be nice and warm when you get it. So you put something warm into a bag like that, it helps keep it nice and warm. It's an insulated bag. So today, it's very cold outside. So even though I'm walking outside and it's very, very cold, the animals don't get cold because they're in that nice insulated bag. So that's the reason why we use a pizza bag to carry around some of our animals. Yep, we're getting there now. Don't worry, I'm going to show you everything. I didn't come to keep secrets. I'm going to show you everything. Here we go. We're going to get to this one right now. But before we do, talk about a mess. I have to get a little safety blanket ready here. Because, you know, if any of the animals were going to make a mess today, it's our next guest. I would have guessed. So let's see. What the? Now, some people say, another turtle. We already talked about turtles, but here's the thing. This is not a turtle.
It's a tortoise. It stinks.
Now here's the thing. Some people, they cheat. Some people try and cheat. They say, oh, it's not a turtle. It's a turtle.
It's a tortoise.
It's a tortoise. No such thing. Yeah, it's a tortoise, not a turtle. So tortoises and turtles, even though just like alligators and crocodiles, they belong on the same branch of the reptile family, they are different animals, just like the alligators and crocodiles are. But of course, with turtles and tortoises, it's actually even a little harder to tell the difference between them than it is to tell the difference between alligators and crocodiles. Because the truth of the matter is, just by looking at this animal, you can't tell what it likes to eat. You really can't tell where it lives. It looks a lot like a turtle. It has a shell like a turtle. It must be a turtle. Now, unfortunately, people who try and have these guys as pets, they don't do that research. They just see an animal that looks like a turtle, so they treat it like a turtle. They assume I can feed it and take care of it like a turtle. Well, that's where this animal story begins. So this is Red, and Red is called a red-foot tortoise. And you'll see as we come around, you give her a little handshake, you'll see she actually has little red spots on her feet, okay? That's why we call them red-foot tortoises. But if you have a red-foot tortoise as a pet and you take care of it, like I say, like a turtle, it's not going to be very healthy. And that's why we have Red. Can you guys see all these bumps on her shell? Okay? Some people say, oh, that's how you tell the difference between a turtle and a tortoise. Look for the bumps. Tortoises have bumps, turtles don't. Tortoises are not supposed to have bumps on their shell. Their shell is just supposed to be nice and smooth, almost like the box turtle we saw before. The reason why so many tortoises have bumps like this is because the people who take care of them give them the wrong food. If you feed a tortoise like a turtle, it's not going to be very healthy and it's going to end up looking like this. We call these bumps pyramids, okay? And we don't call them pyramids because they live in Egypt. These guys have these pyramids from eating the wrong kind of food. So the people who had Red as a pet brought her to us because she stopped eating. So the first question I ask somebody when they bring me an animal that won't eat is, what do you think? What do you think I ask them?
What did you?
Yeah.
What did you feed?
What do you feed her? Okay. So they told us that her favorite food, was hot dogs. Now the thing is, turtles can eat meat. Turtles eat meat. Okay, they weren't just feeding her hot dogs, but they were giving her a lot of protein, a lot of calcium in her diet. Well, what did we say the turtle shell is made from? What did we say that was? Yeah. Well, bones need certain things like calcium to grow nice and big and strong. But the problem is if you get even too much of a good thing, that can be a bad thing. Good things can still make you sick if you get too much of it. So what was happening was she was getting too much calcium in her diet, her body couldn't use it, so her shell absorbed it all. It absorbed all that calcium and it caused it to bubble up like this. And eventually that food, it just started to hurt her stomach. If I gave you a snack every single day and a couple hours later your stomach really hurt, it wouldn't take you very long to say, I better not eat that snack anymore, it upsets my stomach. So unfortunately, sometimes turtles, tortoises, it takes them a little longer to figure this stuff out, but eventually she figured it out and she stopped eating. So now with us, she gets a good diet. So what should you feed a tortoise if you have a tortoise's pet? You should only give it fruits and vegetables and grasses, things like that. That's what she's supposed to eat. That's what gives her the nutrition that her body needs. So now she gets all kinds of different greens. She loves greens. She loves berries, like strawberries. You guys like strawberries?
Yes.
She loves strawberries, okay? So almost like the turtle races over to the bowl of dog food, she'll see a bowl of strawberries. She races right over, sticks her whole head in there, turns her whole head pink when she eats strawberries. She gets all that juice all over her face. So those are the types of things that she should be eating. And now with us, she's much, much healthier. But unfortunately, those bumps, they may flatten out a little bit as she grows. They'll kind of flatten out a little bit, but she'll always have those bumps on her shell. Now, they don't hurt her, okay? They don't really affect her health much, okay? But unfortunately, like I say, she's not supposed to look like this. And out in the wild, if she were, let's say, to be eating all this food and have these bumps on her shell, she would be seen as a weaker tortoise. Other tortoises might pick on her. Other tortoises might hurt her because they think, oh, that's a weak link in our group. We don't want to have that. Or maybe she would be more susceptible to predators, things like that. So, like I say, with us, she's nice and safe, but out in the wild, it could cause a little bit of problem. So I'm going to come around here. You guys can give the shell a feel. There you go. Excellent. Excellent job. All right. Here we go.
What happens if you don't feed it? Will it get more bumps on it?
No, it won't get more bumps on it, but if we don't feed her enough, then obviously she's not going to be very healthy. So the funny thing is, the tortoises eat the most food out of all the animals that we have. They eat the most often, and they eat the most food. We have to feed them every other day, and they get pounds and pounds of fruits and vegetables every single day that they eat. There you go, excellent. Very good.
How are you doing?
There we go. All right. There we go, excellent. Just like that. Good job, good job. Excellent. All right. There you go. Very good. Very good. Here we go. Get around. Good job. Oh, what's the matter? You got a little itch? You got a little itch on your head? You got a little itch on the head. There we go. All right. Here we go. Like I say, it's a mouth test. So yes, not my proudest moment. I was holding a piece of lettuce, okay? Holding a piece of lettuce, kind of, shaking it in front of the tortoise, kind of teasing him with the food. And somebody was talking to me, and I looked over to talk to them, and bit me right on the finger. So not my proudest moment, but honestly, even getting bitten by a tortoise, you kind of go, no, I think it bit me. Because the thing is, they don't have those teeth. And they don't have very strong jaws like some turtles do, like snapping turtles. So the thing is, because they're mostly just eating vegetation, they don't have to have a super strong bite. So I'll tell you what it feels like. It kind of feels like if I just take my fingers and I pinch you with my fingers lightly. I'm not saying a hard pinch. Just kind of take my fingers and press on your skin a little bit. It kind of has that pinchy feel to it. So that's sort of what it feels like to be bitten by a vicious tortoise. Okay? Let's back. What are we doing, guys? Guys! This is out of control today. I even had a safety blanket for you. We are going to have a serious talk on the way home today. Although I did say this one probably would make a mess, right? Yeah, I did say that. All right.
The alligator
So, I know, that it was like a water balloon I brought here today. So, are there any questions for Red the Tortoise? Yes, sir.
So what would happen if a predator came and he was already in the shell? Would the predator still think it was a rock because of the little bumpy yellow bits?
It could, yeah. Like I say, it might kind of now confuse the animal a little bit. It might say, hey, wait a minute, that rock looks a little bit weird. It looks a little bit bumpy. But, yeah, it probably still would very well protect this tortoise from any sort of predator. So this is a species of tortoise that lives in the tropical rainforest. And what tortoises actually do, one difference between turtles and tortoises is tortoises can only stick their head inside their shell. A tortoise cannot, no matter how hard I push on the arms and legs, it can't pull those arms and legs inside its shell completely like a turtle does. So they actually dig themselves little holes, little burrows to sit in. So at night when they're trying to sleep, they'll pull their head inside their shell, they'll sit in a little burrow, so that way you can only see the top part of their shell, and it helps them convince you that they're just a rock. Yeah. They do, yeah. So how do they go to the bathroom? With turtles especially, they use their tail. So they poop, they pee, and they lay eggs, all from their tail, all from that cloaca, like we talked about before. And like I say, they have that in common with birds. So that's the funny thing. Even though you may not look at this tortoise and say, oh yeah, I see a bird there, they actually do have stuff in common with birds. And like I said, they will lay eggs just like birds do. They do lay a nest of eggs like birds do. Now, the tortoises don't sit with the eggs like the birds do, but they will bury the eggs underground. What the tortoise will do is it'll lay its eggs in the ground, dig a little hole for them, cover them up with dirt, and those eggs, they just eventually hatch, and one day, like a little tortoise volcano, all the tortoises start coming up out of the ground, and then they walk away and they know how to take care of themselves. When we're first born, we don't know how to take care of ourselves. You don't know how to walk down the street, go get a job, and start earning money. No! We're little babies. We don't know what to do. But these guys, they have to start. Their job is being a tortoise. They have to go find food. They have to learn how to find shelter. They don't get to have 18 years like we do to figure it all out. Yeah?
If baby turtles are in sand, could they swim?
Tortoises can't swim. Okay, they're land animals only. But yes, like sea turtles, they lay their eggs in the sand. Those turtles hatch, and then they head right for the water because they know that's where they're best protected, is in the water. And they are very good swimmers. But tortoises, not good swimmers. So the box turtle we saw today and this tortoise cannot swim. So if you happen upon a turtle and you're not quite sure whether it knows how to swim or not, don't just go tossing it in the middle of a pond, because sometimes turtles, not only do they pretend to be rocks, but they'll sink like rocks too. Yes? Well, with the turtles and the tortoises, it's actually a little bit easier. So what we're able to do with them to figure out if it's a girl or a boy, we flip it over on its back, just like this. And what we do is we look. Who put me over? We look at this bottom shell. Okay, this bottom shell is called the plastron. The top is called the carapace. The bottom is called the plastron. So what you do is you look at the plastron. If it's nice and flat, okay, like it is here. If it's nice and flat, that means that the turtle or the tortoise is a girl. Okay, I always say flat means female. Flat plastron means female, means it's a girl. If the plastron was dented, almost like a bowl shape, okay, like a bowl you'd eat cereal out of. If it's a bowl shape, that means it's a boy. Okay, so boy means bowl, okay? Flat means female. So that's how you tell the difference with the turtles and tortoises as to whether it's a boy or a girl. So honestly, this is the easiest one for us to look at and be able to tell if it's a boy or a girl. Some of the others, we just kind of have to take our best guess.
So that's
All
a
right,
girl?
so that was red. Yep, so red is a female. She's got that nice flat plaster on. All right, so before she continues to make a mess, let's put her away. All right, and I've got one more for you today. You guys want to see one more?
Tomorrow.
Please make it be a bowl
So, remember I said that Cuckoo the corn snake was the warm-up snake?
Yeah, I remember that. And there was gonna be a bigger snake. I'm gonna show you this flat. I'm hiding now. I'm not touching that. There's a final one.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Chinchilla.
Sports magazines.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh my I knew he couldn't do it. All right. All right. Apparently, you like to read newspaper. All right.
Every time I say I'm not touching.
So, this is my friend Rocky. Everybody say hi to Rocky.
Hi, Rocky.
So, Rocky, now sometimes people aren't quite sure what kind of snake Rocky is when I first take him out. His full name, just so you know, is Rocky Balboa Constrictor. Okay? So he is a boa constrictor. I say that, silly name for a reason because it helps you remember. Sometimes people see a big snake and immediately they say, oh, it's a python. Oh, it's an anaconda. Yes, those snakes exist, but not all snakes are pythons or anacondas. So this is called a red-tailed boa constrictor, and they do get to be one of the biggest snakes we have on the planet. Now the thing is, it is a big snake, okay? Rocky, he's a big snake, right? You agree? He's a big snake? But the thing is, he's a big snake, but he's not a big boa constrictor. And that's the reason why we have him from somebody who tried to have him as a pet. They got him, didn't even know it was a boa constrictor. They just saw a cool snake, cool pattern, nice color. They said, oh, I would love to have that snake as a pet. And the thing is, the people who sell you animals as pets, their job is not to teach you about that animal. Their job is to sell that animal. To them, this is a product, no different than you buying a pair of shoes at the shoe store. Okay, so that's the thing. They're not here to teach you. They don't really want to teach you. They just want their money in most cases. So the people who saw this boa constrictor, they bought it. They didn't know anything about it. Now, they thought it was a type of snake called a ball python. Now, if you don't know what a ball python is, that's okay, but ball pythons, they stay a lot smaller than boa constrictors do. They don't even get to be this big. They probably only get to be maybe about 3 feet long, maybe weigh about 10 pounds at the most. Maybe get to be about that big around. Well, you can clearly see this snake is already bigger than that, and he's only going to get bigger. He'll probably be 15 or 16 feet long by the time he's done growing and weigh close to 100 pounds. So one day, these people realizing their snake was getting a lot bigger than they thought it was going to get to be, that's when they decided, hop on the Google, hop on the internet, type in some questions. How big do ball pythons get to be? And they saw the picture. They said, uh-oh, that doesn't look anything like our snake. So then they started looking up different types of snakes and they discovered, uh-oh, we have a boa constrictor. And it's going to get to be way too big for us to be able to keep. Now, luckily, they realized this. They knew they didn't have the space or the time or the money to be able to keep a snake like this as a pet, so they founded a new home. But unfortunately, almost like with the alligators, some people's solution to the problem, let it go. We've got snakes here in New Jersey. We've got lots of woods. Snakes like the woods. Let's let the snake go. Let it live out the rest of its life in the woods in peace. Well, the problem is not all snakes like to live here in New Jersey. Yes, some snakes over time have adapted themselves to be able to deal with our climate. but this is a tropical rainforest species of snake. It likes to live where it's 80 degrees all year round, and there are palm trees to hang out in. Are there palm trees outside? No, last time I checked, we don't have any palm trees here in New Jersey. So, unfortunately for him, if somebody were to let him go, not only could it be dangerous, of course, to somebody else or other animals, but he's not going to be able to survive. Today, coming here, I have to drive with the heat all the way up in my car to make sure that they stay nice and warm. It has to be about 80 degrees in my car, or else he'll get a cold, he'll get sick, just like you and I. And just like you and I, if he's out in the cold for too long, it could definitely hurt him. So we don't want that to happen. He's got to stay nice and warm all the time. But look at him. He's a big snake. He's a big boa constrictor. People always ask me, aren't you worried he's going to eat you?
Yes. Rattlesnakes do that.
No. There is no snake. Listen to what I'm saying, because this is important. There are 0 snakes on this planet that are big enough to eat you. Okay? As you get bigger, older, taller, you are way too big for any snake, even the biggest snakes on the planet, to be able to eat. We have these big, wide shoulders. I heard you talking about shoulders before. Stand up nice and tall with your shoulders out, right? Confidence. Well, those big shoulders you have, they're way too wide for any snake to be able to eat. Okay? Because of the way we are built, okay? So we cannot be swallowed by a snake. Snakes swallow their food whole. In fact, boa constrictors, they're the most famous for being able to wrap their bodies around whatever it is they're trying to eat and squeeze really tightly. But whether you're a boa constrictor or a corn snake like you saw before, you still have to swallow your food whole. We are way too big for any snake to swallow whole. Now, do snakes eat animals that are bigger than us? Yes. But no other animal on this planet has shoulders like you have. So no matter how the snake tries to swallow you, it cannot do it. But that's not to say the snake can't hurt you. You'll notice when I'm holding Rocky or any of our big snakes, even the small snakes, I never put them on my shoulders. I never wrap them around my neck. Because like I say, when these guys are hunting and they grab onto something they want to eat, constrict. That means to squeeze really tightly. Well, if right now Rocky were to get annoyed and bite me, okay, and start squeezing me, he's going to squeeze me around the middle. I'm not saying that's going to make my day, but if he were to do that, I'd be able to unwrap him, get him off of me, back in the box, everybody's nice and safe. But it's easier to hold him on both my shoulders. He's so heavy and long. I'll put him on both my shoulders. And he bites me, and he starts to squeeze me around here. What's going to happen to me? Yeah, and apparently I'm not getting any help from you guys. You're like, yeah, you're going to choke. Show's over. We're going home. But you're right. You're right. Because the thing is, it's not your problem. That's not your problem. If I don't handle the animal properly, that is not your job to take care of me. Okay? So that's the thing. We always handle these animals the way they should be handled. We never wear them on both our shoulders at the same time, just in case something like that were to happen. So can a snake like this hurt you? Yes. But can it eat you? Absolutely not. Right? Absolutely not. So no matter what you see on TV, in the movies, okay, or in a cartoon or something like I say, there is no snake that wants to eat you, okay? Not possible. Yes?
Does Rocky have any venom?
He does not. So this is not a venomous snake. There's 2 types of snake on our planet. There's venomous and non-venomous snakes. Most snakes on our planet are not venomous. But we do have venomous snakes. We even have venomous snakes here in New Jersey, like rattlesnakes. We do have venomous snakes. So I always tell people, again, if you're on a hike in the woods, you're walking in the park, you come across a snake, what do you think you should do? Run. Well, you don't have to run, but you could run, but you don't have to run. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Because the truth is, if you don't know what kind of snake it is, you definitely don't want to be picking it up and handling it, because it could be a venomous snake. But even if you do, okay, you say, no, I know that's not it. I know it's a corn snake. I know it's not venomous. I know it's not going to hurt me if it bites me. Well, the thing is, it still could bite you. Because what you have to remember is to even the biggest reptile, you are the giant, scary monster who definitely wants to eat it for lunch today. So you come across that small little snake on the path and you say, oh, I don't want anybody to step on it. Let me help it. It could still bite you because it thinks you want to eat it. It doesn't understand the concept. You're human and you just want to help it. It thinks you definitely want to eat it for lunch day. Yes?
How long is the biggest snake in the kingdom?
The biggest snake that we have currently here on our planet is called a reticulated python, and it gets to be about 26 feet long. Now, 26 feet, that's hard to picture. All you have to imagine, you know the big, long, yellow school buses we go to school on, right?
Yes.
That's about that up. Okay? So from the very tippy tip of their nose to the very tippy tip of their tail, they get to be about as long as a big school bus.
Also, if you like find a snake on the ground, be afraid of it.
Well, yeah, and people ask me this, can they sense fear? You know, a lot of animals can. Now, a lot of times when we say an animal senses fear, usually it's our actions that cause it to react. So most of the time they don't sense the fear, they're just reacting to whatever it is you're doing, but some animals can. Now snakes, honestly, they don't really have that ability to sense fear. They can't smell fear coming off of you. But your actions, like I say, are what they sense. So if you start acting crazy or dancing around doing a little snake dance, it's going to react to that. Also, your dancing is terrible, and the snake's going to not really appreciate that either. So yeah. All right, what else we got? Any other questions? Yes. Oh, what happens if you take a photo with a flash on? These guys, they don't care. They're used to being stars of their own show. So, yeah, if somebody takes a picture of the flash on, it doesn't bother them. Reptiles, they don't react to light the same way some other animals do. So if I had some mammals here today and we were taking pictures, maybe then we would have to be concerned about flash and things like that. But the reptiles, they don't care. Like I said, they pose for pictures. They're ready to go. They're ready to go. Yeah.
Does the snake have any predators?
Yeah, they do. Honestly, once they get to be about this size, though, the number of predators starts going down. Because even a big jungle cat, let's say, that would eat a snake for lunch, the thing is, they understand that if they don't get the snake just right, that snake could easily turn around and start wrapping them up and squeezing them, and then they could end up being somebody's lunch. So most of the time, once the snakes get to be a certain size, most of their predators don't even bother with them anymore. But like I say, jungle cats like jaguars and panthers and things like that, they tend to like to eat things like snakes. Yeah, tigers if you're out in India, Burmese pythons, you know, in Burma, tigers tend to eat those animals, but even them, they say, I'm not going to bother, I'll go find something else to eat. Yes?
You know that I saw a video of a jaguar trying to catch a
Boa constrictor? Okay.
And the boa was trying to get away, but the jaguar got it.
Yeah.
It died.
Yeah, well, and that's nature. You know, if you ever watch a nature program on TV or you see something, you know, it's sad. Sometimes people get sad. They see, oh, the one animal ate the other. But that's nature. We all are food for somebody else, and somebody's food for us. So that's the thing, that they all have to survive. And like I said, even though it's sad to maybe see a snake get eaten or see a little cub get eaten, a bear or something like that, it's all part of the life cycle. It's everything that has to happen for our planet to work properly. Yes? These guys you'll see in South America, so in the Amazon region of South America. Now Amazon, that's not just a place where we order packages and they send smiley face boxes to your house. Amazon's actually a region down in South America with the river that flows through it. These guys like to live in those jungles, and you can see they're actually a perfect color to camouflage themselves in those jungles. They'll hang out up in the trees, they'll sit up there, they kind of look like a vine or a branch, and a lot of times they're predator and prey. They don't see them because they're so good at camouflaging themselves in their environment. So that's how these guys are also able to protect themselves out in the wild. So yeah, so South America is where you'll find them. Alright, so let me come around. You guys can give Rocky a feel, and again, you'll see that nice smooth skin that they have. Yeah, just like the other one. There you go. All right. Here we go. Ready? You know, look at this. He's in my pocket. You know, I knew I couldn't be spending my money this way. He's stealing my money. I knew I wasn't spending it that way. Alright, here we go. You ready? Good job, guys. Alright, ready? Wanna try this one? No? Alright. I thought maybe I'd get you. Yeah, exactly. You feel all those scales, how funky they feel, but they're still nice and smooth, like I said. Yep. Oh, so look You know, like I said, just because this is a big snake doesn't equal bad snake. You know, snakes are very important to our planet, just like all the animals we talked about here today. So, like I said, if coming in here today, if you knew we were going to be seeing reptiles today, even if you said, I don't really like reptiles that much, that's okay. But hopefully now that you understand them a little bit better and some of the things they do for us and some of the things that they help keep our planet nice, working properly and keep it nice and clean and healthy for us, maybe you understand them a little bit better. And now your immediate reaction won't be, ugh, I hate them. Okay? Yeah, some people, unfortunately, I talk to a lot of people all year round, and even after my talk, they still don't like reptiles. And like I said, that's okay. You don't have to like them, but you should respect them. Just like I always say, you should respect one another as well. So get to know one another the way you should get to know all the creatures of our planet. So everybody can be nice and happy. All right, so any last questions about anything before we get going today? Yes?
So what will happen if he sheds a lot of skin? And it lands on like a slim rock?
Well, you know what? The skin only comes off when it's ready to come off. So when that skin gets dry and it's time for them to shed their skin, it'll come off usually all in one piece. Sometimes it doesn't come off all in one nice long piece, but it'll come off all in one piece. And after that, their skin can get injured just like ours. So if the skin, let's say he rubs up against something that's sharp, he could get a cut just like the same as you and I. So underneath would not be like another layer of skin to help protect him. The only time that skin comes off. Okay. Oh my God.
This is my show now.
Yep. He says, stop talking. All right. Listen, we're almost done. Okay, we're almost done. So that's the thing. The skin only comes off when it's ready to come off, when it's nice and dry.
He tried to strangle you.
Yes. When the what touches you? No. I mean, you know, the thing is, the tongue. It just feels cool and kind of sticky, a little bit sticky. Their tongue is not wet like our tongue is. So when they stick that tongue out, like I say, it actually is almost like a piece of tape for smells. When they stick that tongue out, the smells get stuck to the tongue, almost like a piece of tape. They pull it back inside their mouth. On the roof of their mouth is a little gland that tells them what the smell is, just like when you breathe in. Our brain interprets those smells, tells you what it is. But yeah, if the tongue touches you, it just kind of doesn't feel like anything. It kind of tickles a little bit, depending on how big the tongue is. It kind of tickles if it catches you, like behind the ear or something like that, as you slither around it. Now, somebody asked me if you can tell if it's a boy or a girl. With this one, again, it's a little hard to see. I'm not going to really be able to show you, but back here by the cloaca, remember I said those spurs we talked about before, those little horns that stick out? This one, I can see just the little tips of those little horns. That means that Rocky is a male. So if I couldn't find those, if I couldn't see them, chances are that would mean that it's a female. Okay, but I know Rocky's a male. Okay?
That's a male, it just they got taken off.
But yeah, or sometimes yes, that is possible too. But we take our best guess. Yes.
How does Rocky go to the bathroom?
Same as the other animals, yeah. So they use that cloaca, they poop, they pee, and they lay eggs all from the same spot. And actually, you know, people think snakes are just like a head and just a long tail. Actually, the only bit of him that is tail is what's between my hands here, okay, between my fingers. That's the only little bit of him that is his tail. So from that cloaca down to the end is his tail. So that's the thing too. These guys are not just one giant long tail.
I wonder
Yeah.
how many died.
Like I say, he'll probably be about 15 or 16 feet long. So again, almost the length of the table you're sitting at here, so they get to be quite long when they're fully grown. Yes. Here, hang on one second. Guys, we're almost done. Hang in there, but some questions are real good. It might be your question too. Yeah. That's a great question. Why is the bottom a different color than the top? We call that counter shading. So you can see it's got this kind of bright, white, creamy looking belly here, but then it's got this much darker top. Well, we call it counter shading because think about it. You're a little animal walking around in the rainforest and you look up. Well, it's bright and sunny when you look up. Well, now it's hard for you to see the snake because the belly sort of blends in with the sky. But let's say you're a bird flying over top and you're looking down to the dark bottom, okay, the dark floor of the forest. Well, now this animal has a dark top, so it blends in better that way. It's almost like sharks. Sharks have a very similar look. They have a light colored belly and then a much darker top. So we call that counter shading. So it's hard for predators and prey to actually see the animal. So if you're looking up, it's hard to see because of that bright belly. If you're looking down, it's hard to see because of that dark top. Yeah, great question. Yes?
He's like wrapping around your leg with his
Yeah, I know, it's a new ankle bracelet for myself. Very fashionable. Very fashionable, yes. There is, yeah. So, and I always say, each snake is kind of like a snowflake. They sort of look similar to one another, but they also have a lot of differences. So that pattern that you see, you'll never see it on another snake. It is possible for snakes to have twins. Sometimes when the eggs hatch, there will actually be two snakes in one egg and they look identical to one another. But for the most part, just like with humans, we all look different from one another, and that pattern varies depending on the snake. And the reason why we call them red-tailed boas, it's not so much that their tail looks red, but it is a much darker brown color than the rest of their body. So that's why we call them red-tailed boas. Okay? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for having us. You guys were an amazing audience. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed seeing the animals. Everybody say bye, Rocky. Bye, Rocky.
We want to thank Aaron for coming out and bringing all of these lovely reptiles, all very different, all live together in the environment just like we're very different and able to live together and grow together and create together. And that's one of the reasons why we like snakes and scales and turtle tails to come out and show us the beauty of the difference of reptiles living in nature, living in the world, what they contribute, and what that means for us as examples, as human beings who are very different, very unique, very beautiful, and what we bring to the world. And if we understand and respect each other's differences, then we can enjoy them and enjoy our space in the world too. So that's one of the things we want you to see, and one of the things they want you to understand when they come out. So somebody tell me one thing they remember from any of the animals. Yes.
Lollipop. She hides her arms and her tongue is purple, so it makes predators think that she's poisonous.
And what was Lollipop? What she was
A lizard.
A lizard. Lizard. You remember the name and everything. Wow, Lollipop, I'm sure appreciates that. Okay, you want to share one?
One of them.
Listen to your classmate. Yes?
One of them was named Crash, and it was a turtle who had a cracked piece of shell, and it was a boxer turtle. So whenever it would go in, it would like fold up into a box.
So it could totally go inside the shell for protection, which was different from the tortoise, which part could go inside?
The head.
The head. So they had to do what to protect themselves?
They had to make
They had to make a burrow, they had to dig and go down so you could just see the shell. Right? So now we know the difference between a tortoise and a turtle. Wow. Who knew? It was legs were broken, so he couldn't really steer, couldn't really swim. And so, what was the favorite food?
We're talking about this, right? The alligator.
Yeah.
The alligator we actually feed mice to on purpose. He could eat something bigger, but if we were to give him something bigger, he would start playing with his food and it would make a big mess. We don't want to get guts all over the place. So we feed him something that he can just swallow nice and easily without having to mess around too much with it. So we feed him mice, but chicken wings. Chicken wings was also something he liked to eat. So
Which one like dog food?
The
The turtles really would run for that dog food because tortoises don't eat meat. That's right, that's the difference, right? So we learned another difference between turtles and tortoises. What else do you remember? What else do you remember?
Yours was an owl.
Wait, hold on 1 minute. Now this is one thing I want you all to remember. When one person is speaking, you have to honor them by listening, so that they honor you by listening. So when you hear your fellow classmate's voice, that means it's time to stop your voice, right? Because that's just called respect. That's just respect. And then we learn from each other. So there are times when you're going to be up and around and moving and talking all you want, whenever you want. But when we gather together to share, we have to listen to each other. That's the only way we can share. Okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes. Thank you.